Hey going everybody, it's Adrenaline7 here, and we're still going with Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. So we've just finished like part of the first part of the mission and stuff like that, and we ended up seeing a cutscene where Fergus got his arm cut off and he tied it up with a belt to stop the bleeding, and we also got to the point where Caroline got beheaded as well with an axe, a fire axe of all things. But we get our own little hatchet, which is always cool.
A hatchet and a Nazi.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, you know, typical Wolfenstein, well, typical, I would say Wolfenstein fashion, but in FPS fashion, just having to crawl through ducts and everything like that to get to where you are. Now, okay, yeah, so they've got a whole bunch of tutorials here. I haven't actually turned them off yet. But I have to admit, those are much more interesting takedowns than the previous game. Have to admit. I mean, the previous game was pretty cool. You know, you actually grabbed an enemy from behind and you assaulted him that way. But with this one, because it's a hatchet, it's yeah. Oh god.
Our people while I get this done.
Yeah, and that's another thing with the quotes that with that BJ saying and stuff like that as well. Very spiritual, and I guess it adds a little bit of depth to the character itself. But you know, I'm not particularly a spiritual person myself, so. For that sort of stuff, you know, for those type of quotes and everything like that, it just doesn't seem right for me. You know, well, it doesn't sink in right, but you got to think as well. You know, it's America, where it's like 80% of the population are considered religious of some sort. At least last time I read. Yeah, I'm just actually checking to see how the weapon wheel works as well, because it's a little bit different. Because it's a little bit different in what they do with the New Order.
Take out the commanders first.
There we go. So even though the commander has yep, okay, there we go. So you actually get enigma codes from these commanders. So the more commanders you kill, the more codes you get, which means the more things you can actually unlock. So I guess what I'm trying to do right here is actually look around for the next one. So as you can see, I thought I had a sight on it before, but it turns out it's not going on. By the way, if you haven't guessed, I'm actually doing a voiceover. If you haven't figured it out already. In any case, so we're just trying to look for this commander, and I know he's a while away because, you know, at the top there, how it's got the numbers just diminishing and stuff like that. Obviously, it is they're giving you so they're giving you a location of where it is. So that's where you got that bulge in the circle, not to mention the numbers. It just shows which direction they're in and shows you actually how far they are as well. As you can see, it looks like the commander is actually moving around, and I'm actually just playing with this guy at the moment. So there we go, the commander, and we've got a nice shot at him. Bang! So he's down. So that means that when killing a commander, it means they can't call for reinforcements. Now I've got a whole bunch of enemies who are going to try and attack me. Oh, there they are. They found me. And yeah, we're just going to be moving around. So obviously, get out the double pistols. Now I do like my double pistols, but it doesn't make it very accurate, and that's the reason I use pistols a fair bit in games like this. Like if I want to do a silent takedown, or if I want to shoot an enemy from far away, I'm more likely to use pistols. But because this is I'm dual wielding it at the moment, it's causing a bit of difficulties because, you know, you're pressing two buttons with the mouse and you're actually moving the mouse around at the same time. It makes it really hard to stay steady. You know, aim isn't really the best when it comes to this sort of stuff. So I think what I end up doing is actually changing my weapons, because this is much easier. Just, you don't need to hold it for full auto either. You know, this kind of works in just burst ammo. Works better that way. Okay. So we've got a few things that open up in different areas. So there's a lot of places around here that you can actually sneak around, and you can actually benefit from sneaking. But, you know, like these Wolfenstein games, the later Wolfenstein games that have come out, that's the New Order and the Old Blood, it's very much you know, you can either sneak around or you can just go in guns blazing. It's usually one of the two options, not like Deus Ex where you've got, like, you know, 16 different options. So this is from Super Lieutenant or Over Lieutenant, Ober, no, yeah. No, it's not Uber, it's Ober. High Lieutenant Elson Decker. Excuse me. of the Osmerzer. What's the Osmerzer? I actually don't know. Is that oh, that's the actual ship I'm in. I had to remember I'm actually in an airship at the moment. So yeah, just looking around just to see if there's anything else. Like you need to search around in these type of games. You really need to search around because there's hidden items everywhere. So as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of different things going on. One thing I don't really like about this particular game so far, and it's not just the crashing, which we may experience at a time soon, but it's actually, and the fact that it's lagging like hell, but that's just because of the recording. I'm recording at 60 frames a second, but this game isn't running purely at 60 frames, it's actually dipping back and forth between 60 and like 50 or 40 or something like that, and even going higher, maybe even bumping up to 70. I mean, when I'm playing Overwatch and stuff like, when I'm playing Overwatch, it's basically running anywhere between, you know, 60 and 70, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant to start recording footage from that. But this game here, you know, as you can see, you know that it looks pretty smooth at times, but at the same time, you can see how it kind of, the frames just dip in particular areas. So there we go, you can use a grenade to destroy the tank. So I've got a whole bunch of grenades, that's all fine. So basically you run in, you throw your grenade, and it should blow. Well, turns out it actually bounced backwards, so I think I need to throw in a second one. Yep, more lower this time, and there we go, bang. Okay, so just picking up my hatchets. I think there was another one around there somewhere. Okay, so a whole bunch of enemies, that's all fine. A little dark area, so this is what we mean. So there's an officer around here, and there's not really much you can do about this. In all honesty, I mean, you know for a fact that you know, you can't sneak your way in after making an explosion like that. So what I've ended up doing here is just running around and trying to shoot as many enemies as I can, trying to look for the commander while I'm disposing everyone. But you gotta remember as well, because they're calling for reinforcements, it's not making it very easy to find. And you just keep wandering around until you find who you're looking for, and there he is, bang. So you get rid of the commander that way. Alright, then you can dispose of the rest without having to worry about more enemies coming, more Nazis coming. So, and this really helps that, you know, obviously you've been over, I think that was accidentally pressed a mouse button on the side of my mouse, my thumb button. Actually got two thumb buttons. One I use for reload. So I never use the keyboard to reload. I always use my mouse. I always map my because I've got two side buttons. I've got an M4 and an M5 button. So M4 I usually use for reload because it's a bigger button, and M5 is a smaller button, and that one is usually like throwing something, or yeah, usually for throwing something or a melee attack. And because I'm not likely to use melee attacks in this one, I use it more for grenades. So that's just the way I set everything up. So here, just going around, still just trying to collect everything, and then you've got your Enigma code, which is great. So we're getting a nice collection of them so far.
That's it.
Okay, we run through here. Power it down. It's still really weird listening to voices before the actual action happens. But by the end of the video, everything kind of syncs up as well, so I really don't like it when that happens. So there we go. So it turns out I've actually missed a fair few items off the, on that ship there. On their set Roth. I have to admit, the graphics look fantastic. It's just a shame that things don't sync up. Oh god. So yeah, well, that's an awesome ship though. That's an awesome airship. Kind of reminds me of the Avengers ship in a way, but more gothic, I guess, in structure. Funny term, gothic. It doesn't really mean anything in particular. It was originally it was used to describe anything that wasn't of Renaissance or I think, or something like that. Anything that wasn't of a Renaissance or a classical design or something like that. So anything that wasn't Italian during the time, like you know, churches or anything like that that weren't particularly that weren't particularly looking very religious, I guess. Sorry, my lack of vocabulary is screwing me up at the moment, and it's, you know, a little late at night. In any case, so anything, the original term for Gothic is, it means anything that's not classic looking. So, and you know, during, like, I think it was like throughout Czechoslovakia, like the Czech Republic or something like that, or Romania, they had a whole bunch of things, like a whole bunch of buildings that weren't oh bang, and there we go. So these are the new types of super soldiers. So they not, even though they don't have miniguns like they used to, but they do have lasers, and lasers are cool. Mind you, it's not very hard. Like this first enemy here, the first super soldier, really simple. I mean, like I said, this was the first time I had ever actually done this part. So what you're seeing here is actually my first attempt of going through this part of the level. And even this is just completely fine. I mean, all you gotta do is just use the thing as leverage, you know, use the thing as leverage. So he gets dropped, and look what you've got, the laser gun. So high energy laser beams that overheat thin sheets of metal until they melt. Great. So yeah, you can carry this along, and it just makes everything so much easier. This kind of reminds me of Zarya's gun from Overwatch. So yeah, you just melt all your surroundings. It's wicked. It's a wicked gun, and then you can just go across like that, and it just destroys everything. So there's another super soldier, and this gun here is fantastic for super soldiers. I mean, look, he's already done. I didn't even realize at the time that was going to completely annihilate them. It's so awesome. So yeah, just keep going down. We've run out.
To recharge this thing somewhere.
Which is funny. So yeah, I'm trying to use the iron sights. I'm trying to get used to the iron sights in the game, but it stops you from. Okay, so there we go. That there is actually the charger for the laser gun. Oh, environmental kills. So how did that work? I must have shot a fire extinguisher or something, or some sort of canister. Bang, bang, bang. Yep. Did that work? Oh, it must have worked, because I hadn't seen him since then. Okay, so you gotta be careful. I think there might be another enemy around here, but I'm not too sure. In any case, I've noticed that my health's gone low, so I've gone back, and I've picked up another gun. That's all cool, and what I'm doing is looking for not only ammunition, but I'm looking for armor as well. That's the thing, though. Just because you've got a whole bunch of things in one area, you know, don't go too far, because if you go too far, you won't be able to go back and pick up some stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out what the right mouse button does, and it actually preemptively charges it, which is fantastic, because, you know, you can't aim the iron sights with that. So what you do there, you hold the charge button, hold the right mouse button, and once everything's loaded, you just press lightly, you just press it quickly and lightly on the left mouse button, and that will actually, you can just like do it in short, really short bursts, which was really cool. So there we go, and that's how you find hidden items as well. So yeah, just overcharging health, because why the hell not? And as you can see, there's a bit of armor in there as well, so that's always fun to get. So I gotta wait for it to come back. I was wondering if you could actually jump in here. I reckon you could, but obviously I failed miserably, and I'm not gonna bother from there because I picked up what I wanted. I mean, look at that armor, 129 armor, that's wicked. So there we go, we shoot another, yep, we shoot that away. That opens up one of the new areas. Always check for enemies. And what do I do around here? Am I just looking for stuff? I'm looking for more items? Yeah, it turns out I'm looking for more items, and that's perfectly fine. Ugh. Man, I have to admit, the BJ having the suit on, I don't know, it kind of goes against his character in a way, because he's known, like, and it's evident that this, you know, that BJ is supposed to be a, like he's supposed to be like macho and everything like that, but he's just one of those really dependable people. You could do anything to him. You could fire rockets right in his face, but he's but by all means he's just gonna survive it. He's a survivor. And to have him in a suit like to have him completely injured and have him in a suit like this, it's a little bit I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. Excuse me, yawning again. So sneak your way through here, and it turns out there's actually an enemy there. Okay, and I didn't realize that. Oh, there we go. We saw a yeah, we saw a super soldier there. You don't when I was shot that commander, I did not realize that because usually with pistols like that, I usually have a silencer on, but obviously I don't have a silencer quite yet. So you get more ammunition, you run forward, you shoot a bit more enemies, a few more come out somewhere. Another super soldier, completely melted. God, this is such a good gun. You just cannot get away from this. And that was the there was the commander. Go back to the pistole. Go back for some armor. Did I get the armor? Was there any health around? Oh yeah, that's right, we got the laser gun. Yeah, the laser gun will actually slow your movement down as well, so you gotta take that into consideration. But it doesn't seem like there's any more enemies around here. Excuse me. So, yeah, walking around with a pistol, it works well. Works fine. I mean, I don't have any knives on me, so obviously, you know, I can't run faster that way. There's a joke for you Counter-Strike fans out there. I've got some more Enigma codes, which is interesting, because I reckon I've faced more the commanders than that. And here we go. Irene Engel. That's her first name. Appointed general by our beloved Führer. Excuse me. In front of the Volkshalle in Berlin. The People's Hall. Okay. Kind of makes a bit of sense. And here we go. A bunch of ammunition, a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of grenades. Basically everything you need is in this room. This is like some sort of weapons cache going on. More things there. We can actually soup up our laser gun as well. If I had it. So you just pick up one. Turns out you got 66 kilowatts left in that one. Charge it up. Once you charge this really quickly. Wish my phone could charge up that quickly. But then again, having that type of equipment just out in the open where you can just like plug it into anyone and just instantly fry them. So what are we doing here? Okay, nothing in that box. So we go up, we collect the Enigma code. So that's 5 out of 10, even though it hasn't come up on the thing. So you open it up, and it turns out yeah, there's enemies around here somewhere. There we go. Oh, they didn't fry instantly. Have to admit, this game is much easier to destroy enemies with when you've got this particular weapon. Yep. Oh, of course you get the heavy weapons kills going up higher. And is that it? No more enemies than that? I could have sworn there would have been more. Okay, we get more ammo. Going around. This would be a hell of a place to try and search for things. I wouldn't expect this to oh, I missed that. I'm gonna have to pause the video and find out what that said. You will have to do that too, because I'm not doing it. So we know there's an objective back there, and you know, obviously, this is a Wolfenstein game. You need to search for secrets. So just considering of what options there are, you know, we can go up, and there's probably a few things around there. What was that? Hold to inspect. What else have we got? Oh, it's the newspaper on there. So, toy maker opens stores in Roswell. Okay, so Glasserspielzeug, also known for the Elite Hans. Elite Hans. That's the German equivalent of G.I. Joe. Open stores in Roswell. Roswell, since America has been liberated, is going to be in something about the toy industry, success in the toy industry. Interesting. It looks like they're not willing to cover up aliens in that one. Mind you, when was the Roswell? Was it 46 or something like that, or 48? I think it was in the 40s. I'm going to have to search it up next time if I remember. In any case, I'm just trying to think of, where can we go? Where can we go up and everything like that? And I thought, screw it, let's just get this over and done with. So, go back, go to the objective and we find out what happens from here. Open the hangar bay door. Whoop! Turns out it's a whole bunch of enemies. Let's melt them. Turns out that's actually a headshot. That's wicked. So there's the last time I wanted to try and search for any other things. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. And then they close the door. That's why you can't go back. And it turns out I missed a whole bunch of things underneath the desk. Oh, interesting. It's like, hold on. Picking up a limp paraplegic corpse. Well, they're not paraplegic anymore. They're, not a care in the world. Just shrug it off. Not bad for a guy whose kidneys are failing. But then again, if your kidneys are failing, would you give a crap? Probably not. And besides, when your best friend's dead and your potential previous lover... And, yeah. Sad times. So yeah, head of the resistance. Now headless. With a scene like this, it's oh damn.
Stop fidgeting. You want something for the pain?
No, just get on with it, man.
Yeah, true. I can't believe that.
Caroline had a plan.
Yes, the liberation of the United States of America.
Man, if I had to have an arm, like a mechanical arm drilled into me like that, Jesus Christ. Like I screamed profanity and all sorts when I got my legs waxed. So to have that drilled into my shoulder, I'd be insane. I would like just throw around in fits of rage and pain.
No, mister. And I'm not a Nazi. Not anymore.
Oh, the video synced up now.
I've established radio contact with an American resistance cell in New York City. The only way we move forward. Caroline's plan is to build alliances.
Okay, now it's not.
Groups and mobilize the people for a revolt.
Oh, maybe it is.
Depth charges!
Great, so depth charges doesn't make it any easier.
Bloody ass is happening.
Interesting, in 5 months they've learned how to use a U-boat. A German U-boat of all things.
Frau fucking Engel. Will someone care to tell me how the fuck she found us? Well, speak up.
Someone inside your robot is transmitting your position.
That is bloody marvelous.
The Ausmerzer has been receiving messages from someone inside your boat. That's how we found you.
Fucking who? Section F. Fucking what?
Yeah, they just bring out a whole new thing with no context or anything like that, no previous mention.
But there is no Section F. The maps are not accurate. We've looked and there is no door there.
There is. But if someone is hiding in there transmitting that signal,
You want to investigate? I'm gonna have to go have a lay down.
Kindle.
Oh, I do like my angry, cursive Scotsman. I really do. That's why I'd actually like to listen to and watch Ragtag on YouTube. Not because of his not really because of his content. I mean, don't get me wrong, his content's actually pretty good, but he seems like he's got a really solid, decent mind. But it's also the fact that he's, you know, swearing and all that sort of stuff. I can really relate to it.
I think it would deliver.
Thanks, I miss the old girl.
Oh, awesome! That's our laser gun from the previous game. Obviously, it's changed a bit.
When you are done, big man.
Ah, yeah. So this is the start of the next mission. So this is where we have to go through a hidden area and go from there. Laserkraftwerk.
William,
Oh, it's like the yeah, it's like the LCD system of the band Kraftwerk. It's a poor joke. I'm gonna leave it there. Guys, thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next one. So long.